Good, happy Saturday morning, January 25th, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Saturday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this morning, so let's begin. First up, what's next? President Trump's defense team to begin presenting case today. President Donald Trump's legal team is expected to begin presenting its defense on Saturday morning in the ongoing impeachment trial. Saturday marks the start of the defense team's 24 hours over the course of 3-day the president's case, the same amount of time as House impeachment managers had to making their opening arguments, which they began giving on Wednesday. In today's presidential Trump legal team will be doing their case from 10 o'clock a.m. until 1 p.m. Man indicted on attempted murder charges in Pelham church shooting. Holloway also charged with first and second degree assault. Let's take a listen to that video from WR News 9, Siobhan Lopez.
Why are you screaming at me? Jackpot alert. Great. Let's go get tickets. But first, buckle up.
Dale Holloway is indicted on 6 counts in connection to the October 2019 shooting of a bishop and bride during a wedding ceremony at New England Pentecostal Ministries. State and local authorities responded following this initial dispatch by Pelham Police.
Pelham Police to Pelham Fire. I need somebody to 954 Wood Street to church for a report of an active shooting.
Holloway now faces multiple charges, including attempted murder, first and second degree assault, and being a felon in possession of a deadly weapon. While being held at Valley Street Jail in Manchester for the Pelham shooting, Holloway is accused of assaulting his public defender. Another indictment charges him with 1 count of first-degree assault. He's alleged to have struck his defense attorney in the head, causing bleeding around the victim's brain. Both sets of indictments point to Holloway's violent past. 2 prior convictions in Massachusetts. In 2003, armed assault to murder, where he was sentenced to a minimum of 2 years, and another 2-year sentence in 2017 for an assault and battery conviction. Holloway is being held without bail. He's due back in court next Friday for the Valley Street Jail assault, then again in March for the Pelham shooting case. Reporting in Pelham, Siobhan Lopez, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Two arrested after Manchester business owner sees break-in attempt on security video. Police say men tried to cut fence at Capital Auto auction. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Mike Cherry.
Why are you screaming at me? Jackpot alert. Great. Let's go get tickets. But first, buckle up.
It was just before 6 o'clock in the morning when Manchester police received the call from the owner of Capital Auto Auction. He said someone was trespassing on his property near the Londonderry Turnpike.
He told police that he actually was looking at live security video and he could see two people trying to cut through the fence.
When officers arrived, they could see what looked like flashlights beyond the fence and near a wooded area.
They ordered the people to stop, and they instead turned around and ran into the woods.
Separating officers from the suspects was an electric fence, so a canine tracking unit was called in. In a matter of minutes, the canine located 24-year-old Matthew Parsons of Manchester. Moments later, our cameras were there as police arrested 29-year-old Ryan Cormier of Manchester, roughly a half-mile away from Capital Auto Auction. Neighbors in this residential area declined to go on camera, but say they were confused to wake up to flashing blue lights and police activity.
He had made it to Wellington Road. He was in the wood line, and again, it was a canine that was able to locate him.
Police say it does not appear that any items were stolen. It's also not clear how much damage was done to the property at Capital Auto Auction. We did reach out to the company's ownership for comment, and as of yet, have not heard back. As for Parsons and Cormier, both have been charged with burglary and resisting arrest. No court date has been set.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire County attorneys call for repeal of bail reform law. Prosecutors say public safety at risk. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Adam Sexton.
Why are you screaming at me? Jackpot alert. Great. Let's go get tickets. But first, buckle up.
In Concord, New Hampshire's 10 county attorneys, Democrats and Republicans, are calling for the repeal of the state's bail reform law, which has vastly reduced the number of criminal offenders going to jail after arrest.
This is something that all 10 county attorneys agree on because it is affecting all of our practices. It's affecting all of the police departments. It's not a pocket of the state. It's not an area of the state. This is everyone.
Hillsborough County Attorney Michael Conlon, a progressive Democrat, says too many dangerous offenders are being turned back out on the streets. He detailed a high-level drug case and a violent assault arrest which resulted in immediate releases under bail reform.
The accused provided a voluntary statement that they admitted to the punching and the strangling, and he was arrested for felony assault and multiple misdemeanor charges. The accused was released on PR bail.
One of the primary goals of bail reform was to ensure people are not kept behind bars awaiting trial simply because they can't pay to get out. Dr. Buzz Scher, who wrote the bail reform law, says people just need time to adapt to a new kind of criminal justice system.
So change is painful. And, having difficulty with newness and complication, if it addresses what we want to, is something that should not be an issue.
Governor Chris Sununu, who initially supported bail reform but has since echoed concerns from law enforcement, is also weighing in. In a statement to News 9, the governor said, quote, "The legislature needs to stop listening to the ACLU and pro-bail reform special interests and start listening to county attorneys and law enforcement to fix this issue once and for all."
And really the only way to fix this problem is not to keep putting Band-Aids over the original bail reform. It's to pull it back, repeal it.
In Concord, Adam Sexton, WMUR, News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Buttigieg starting to make closing argument to Granite Staters. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Mike Cronin.
Why are you screaming at me? Jackpot alert. Great. Let's go get tickets. But first, buckle up.
Buttigieg has come a long way in New Hampshire, entering the race as a little-known mayor from Indiana to now one of the major Democratic candidates as decision time approaches.
I have been so moved to see how seriously the people of New Hampshire take the role that you have.
At UNH Friday, Buttigieg is starting to make his closing argument to Granite Staters.
The one thing that's even bigger than the majority that agrees that we are against this president is an even bigger majority that agrees on what we're for. Remember, we're the ones trying to get you a raise. We're the ones ready to deliver paid family leave.
In these final crucial days of the campaign, the field is less crowded during the impeachment trial. 4 Democratic senators, 4 of your competitors, are tied up in Washington for the impeachment trial. Does that create an opportunity for you here in New Hampshire in the final 2 weeks?
Well, I don't think anyone's going to hold it against senators that they're doing their job. Obviously, what's going on in Washington is important. But from my perspective, as a presidential campaign, we want to be on the ground, engaging with voters as much as possible.
Buttigieg says his message across the country is the same, but that he hears the concerns of all voters.
When I'm in the north in New Hampshire, and some other communities too, I hear a lot of concerns about economics that remind me of issues we faced at home in South Bend. I'm in a lot of communities, especially in the Seacoast area, that are concerned about PFAS contamination, and we're going to continue to make sure that we're engaging.
Buttigieg is back in Iowa tomorrow with a packed campaign schedule ahead of him with 10 events over the next 4 days there. Reporting live in Durham, Mike Cronin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And now let's take a look at your 2020 New Hampshire candidate tracker for today. And here's a look at that 2020 candidate tracker for today, January 25th, 2020. The first candidate that we are talking about today, Joe Biden. He has one event today in New Hampshire, a community event at Mary E. Fisk Elementary School in Salem, New Hampshire at 12:15 p.m. Tulsi Gabbard, Town Hall in Maltonborough, New Hampshire at 5 p.m. Bill Weld, he has 3 events today in New Hampshire. His first event, greet diner patrons at Marianne's Diner in Derry, New Hampshire at 10 o'clock a.m. His second event, Town Hall at Rockingham Brewing CO in Derry, New Hampshire at 11 o'clock a.m. And his third event, attending Concord Winterfest at the Hotel Concord in Concord, New Hampshire at 1:30 p.m. And those are all the candidates that are in New Hampshire today. And if you want to see that list again, you can just go to the Riley King Network Facebook page. Man arrested after stealing airport employee's wallet, then car with baby inside. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Now to the frightening scene at a Florida airport, a carjacking and a mother jumping back into the car to save her baby. Here's Victor Oquendo.
It happened in seconds. Watch the man wearing the green hooded jacket at the bottom of your screen, quickly walking curbside at Southwest Florida International Airport, suddenly making a beeline for the driver's side of this car, hopping behind the wheel and taking off, dragging one man and a woman who manages to climb in because her 1-year-old baby was inside.
He just took the car and there was a baby in the back.
Florida police say the carjacker is 36-year-old Adi Makable, and this all started minutes earlier at a restaurant inside the terminal. This surveillance shows Makable stealing a waitress's wallet and walking off, that waitress giving chase. An airport worker in the white shirt follows the suspect all the way outside. Police tracked Makable to a nearby hotel where he was arrested. The mother and her child were eventually released and reunited with their family. The suspect is in jail facing multiple charges, including robbery and kidnapping. David?
Victor, thank you.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this Saturday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.